In this presentation, I'm going to take you through the June 2022 exam paper in the subject Marketing, examined by the Zambia Institute of Marketing under its postgraduate diploma program. So the subject is Marketing. The past exam paper is June 2022. My name is Saboi. I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Captain37, and like and follow my Facebook page, Marketing Study in Zambia. And if you wish me to take you through your individual studies, you are welcome to get in touch with me privately and we can have a discussion. Let's proceed. Question number 3, A. Question number 3A read as follows. What is marketing planning? What is marketing planning? Identify and explain the differences between each stage of the marketing planning process. Identify and explain the differences between each stage of the marketing planning process. And this was worth 14 marks. This was worth 14 marks. And this was part A of question 3. I'll read it again. What is marketing planning? What is marketing planning? Identify and explain the differences between each stage of the marketing planning process. Identify and explain the differences between each stage of the marketing planning process. 14 marks. Before we proceed with this one, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Captain37, Captain37. Also, I invite you to like and follow my Facebook page, Marketing Study in Zambia. If you need individual help to be taken through your studies, I'll be glad to be of service. Please do feel free to reach out to me and we can get chatting. Back to this particular question. What is marketing planning? That's the first part of this particular question. And really, marketing planning, this is a process by which an organization sets out objectives. After the organization has set out objectives, it's going to determine the strategies it is going to implement and achieve those predetermined goals. So planning really is a process by which an organization sets objectives, determines how to achieve those objectives through strategies, and that is it. So planning is a process by which an organization sets objectives and determines the strategies to implement and achieve the predetermined goals. So this basically around like this is how a student needed to address the first part, which was basically asking what marketing planning is. Further, the student is required to identify each stage in the marketing planning process. The stages in the marketing planning process are as follows. Number 1, analysis. Number 2, objectives. Number 3, strategies. Number 4, implementation. Number 5, evaluation. And number 6, control. To repeat, the stages in the marketing planning process are number 1, analysis. Number 2, objectives. Number 3, strategies. Number 4, implementation. Number 5, evaluation. And number 6, control. Let's now talk about each one of these, starting with analysis. Analysis is basically a business understanding the current business environment. For example, the business may conduct what is known as a SWOT analysis, in which it lists down its strengths, it also lists down its weaknesses, and also identifies possible opportunities and also identifies possible threats. That way, a business is going to have a better understanding of what it can capitalize upon and what it can avoid. A business may be able to understand what it can capitalize upon based on its strength, or what it can avoid based on its weaknesses. Other tools that can be used are the BCG, which stands for Boston Consulting Group. There's also Pestel. There's also Porter's 5 competitive forces. In your individual studies, you may have come across these. These are tools that are used for the purposes of understanding the current business environment. And that is what analysis is all about, to understand the internal environment, where it sits or where it stands, and also to understand the external environment, where it is, and indeed what the key critical issues could be. Number 2, objectives. These are basically clear goals of what a business wishes to achieve. An objective is what a business seeks to achieve. And very important is that an objective must be smart. An objective must be smart. The word SMART is an acronym because each letter stands for something. S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for realistic, and T stands for time bound. Therefore, an example of an objective is to increase the sales of product A in Southern Province from 25% to 60% by the end of 2023. By the end of 2023. This particular example of a goal that I've given you, an objective, is SMART. Number 3, strategies. A strategy is basically the means of achieving an objective. So 2 different companies may both want to make a profit, and they may go about it using different strategies. So a strategy is the means to an end, and very important that there is no single strategy that every business must adopt. Different organizations are going to use different strategies. What is a strategy? A strategy is a means to an end. A strategy is a means to an end. Examples of strategies could include to reduce the price of a product. So it is possible that a business may reduce the price of a product, and in so doing, it is going to invite more people, and therefore there's going to be a higher demand for its particular products, and it can make profits based on what is known as economies of scale. Another example of a strategy is to introduce online payments, especially in 2022. Customers do not exactly need to move from one point to go to another point simply to make payments. Customers are able to make payments on their mobile phones using their other types of gadgets. This is a strategy that a business can adopt to ensure that customers find it easier to pay, and in so doing, a business may actually win over new customers who may be interested in ensuring that they do things faster and much more cost effective. Number 4, implementation. Implementation. There are 3 important variables under implementation. Number 1, the budget. Number 2, the schedule or schedule, depending on how you pronounce it. And number 3, the team, meaning the group of people who you're going to work with. At this particular point, we need to convert all the theories that we've talked about and bring them to life. One of the things that's needed to bring any plan to life is a budget. And therefore, as part of the marketing planning process, budgeting under implementation, or it can even be put as an element by itself, simply refers to allocation of financial resources towards specific strategies. A budget is basically an allocation of financial resources towards a specific activity. A schedule is simply an outline which shows which particular activity is going to be conducted at which particular time. This is very important because, for example, if you wrongly schedule advertising, you will run your adverts at a time when people are asleep. Or you may run your advertising or your sales promotions campaign, or it is possibly personal selling. You may do it at a time when it is not the best time to do so. So a business must always schedule or schedule its activities. The last one under implementation is teaming. And the truth of the matter is that it matters who you work with. It is not everyone who you can work with and expect to have excellent results. As part of the planning process, a manager or indeed anyone who is in charge of this particular process must make sure they bring together a team of people who have complementary skills and who are dedicated towards working towards the same objective. In details, that's a different topic by itself, but for now, I'm sure you get the idea that when it comes to implementation, you need to look at the budget, you need to look at the schedule, and you need to look at the team you're going to work with. Number 5, evaluation. At this point, you would have implemented what it is that you set out to implement. And therefore, evaluation is basically the process or the step where we measure what we have actually achieved against what we intended to achieve. So for example, we may have intended to achieve a sales target of 20,000 decoders. 20,000 decoders. That was what you set to achieve. However, at the end of the financial year, what you achieved was 18,000. 18,000. So based on that alone, you can see that the business did not meet its objective. The business did not meet its objectives. The process of evaluation is to measure what has been achieved against what was set to be achieved. What we have done, the results we have now, against the results that we wanted to have. This is the process of evaluation. One of the tools that is used for the process of evaluation is what is known as the corporate scorecard. Number 6, control. To control is to take corrective measures. For example, the sales target of an individual could be 300 laptops or 300 remote controls or 300 whatever objects or whatever product you'd like to think about. And this particular young lady is always exceeding her targets. 400 instead of 300, 320 instead of 300. You need to take corrective measures because, for example, it could be that her targets are below her potential. So the business may need to take a corrective measure where they increase the sales target for someone who exceeds their target. That is just one of the control measures that a business can decide to implement. All in all, the understanding and the important point is that to control is to take corrective measures. It could include, for example, to train your members of staff. They may not have been aware about a particular new product onto the market, and therefore you need to control that particular situation. By controlling, it means that you are taking corrective measures and also you intend to ensure that this particular step of the marketing planning process is also implemented to achieve the desired results.